What's going on, guys? You're listening to WSOU. I am Nick, and I am here with Dez Fafara from Devildriver. What's going on, dude?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man.
You're up for this tour.
So you guys have a huge tour coming up. Your first headliner in quite some time. So what's your mindset going into this? You know, obviously being the headliner, you haven't been it in a while. What's kind of the mindset?
Well, I mean, we're ready. That's the mindset. I'm actually downstairs in my studio right now printing out some lyrics because we're doing some songs that we haven't done in a while.
Okay.
Putting some new ones in. We start rehearsals on Thursday and Friday. I've been going back and forth with the guys all morning. Everybody's really excited. I mean, you know, there's a difference when you go out and you play 9, 10 songs to when you can go out and play 15 to 16 songs. It's a difference for the crowd and for us. And we're very excited. You know, we're taking killer bands with us, and it's going to be a good time.
For sure. And now it's a very eclectic lineup. So what kind of goes into picking the bands out for you guys? Because, you know, you have Death Angel, the classic kind of bands, and then you have, you know, Winds of Plague, the Agonist, very eclectic.
I think that's the important thing right there. There's a lot of tours that do go out and every band sounds the same. All the logos look the same and all the bands sound the same. And that's not a fun night out.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I really do. I really look at diversity in packages. I mean, even when I was talking to Josta about Hatebreed and Devildriver going out, it was like, that's what we were talking about, is that diversity. It's like, yeah, you guys are hardcore, we're this, we're groove, we do what we do. And I think it's important for the fans, the people that come out for shows, to have some kind of diversity in the package. Otherwise, all you're listening to is the same shit all night long, you know?
Exactly, and that's the thing. I caught you guys out on the Hatebreed tour, and I called it the Devil Tour because it was you, Devil You Know was on there too. Now, what'd you take away from that tour? Because it seemed like everyone was very set. Like, that was a pretty big tour. You know, it went on for quite some time. And what kind did you take away from that?
Well, I mean, look, man, all those guys are really great friends, man. I got respect for everybody that was on that tour, and Jamie and I are the ones who put that thing together. And about halfway through, I said, hey, this is doing really well. We should add another 4 weeks, and we did. What I took away from that tour was, yeah, diversity in a package works. I mean, Devil You Know is nothing like Devildriver, and Devil You Know obviously is nothing like Hatebreed, and Hatebreed is nothing like Devildriver. So I was like, people are coming out in force, not only because we're packaging up right, but there's a diverse package. And I know that, you know, Death Angel has their draw and their thing that they do. The Agonist, I mean, they're doing their own thing for sure. Winds of Plague, I mean, they're coming back strong right now, and so it's going to be interesting to have people out there and you know, experience the package. Definitely.
And you guys have such a strong live presence when you perform. One of my favorite sets that I've seen. What do you kind of put into a set? What goes through your head? Like, this is what I want to get across when I'm on stage.
Right. I appreciate that, Nick. Thanks, man. I mean, really pride myself over the last 20-something years for the live show thing, man. So I appreciate that compliment. For us, it's like we're half punk rock, we're half metal. Go out, give 110%. So it's the same every night. Like, go out and lose yourself to find yourself. Like, totally disconnect yourself in order to connect. And that's what Devildriver does. That's what I've done as a frontman my whole life, is get out there and give 110%. So I appreciate the compliment, Nick.
Definitely, of course, man. And now another thing that kind of goes into the live perspective as well is, especially the last few years, you've had some new members join and whatnot. So how does that affect the chemistry and the live perspective? Because obviously the chemistry is very important in a live set to get across what you want. So how does that kind of work with you, making sure you have the right fit for what you want?
Right. Well, look, I think the chemistry, that question right there, that word right there, is a big deal in a band. You got to have the chemistry, and the chemistry is going sour for many, many years with the members that I did part ways with. So I was pleased to do it. A lot of people don't know this, that Neil, my new guitar player, replaced Jeff, who, you know, Jeff didn't write a song in 12 years. So now I replaced Jeff with a writer.
Okay.
Neil is an incredible writer. He's written platinum songs for other artists. He's absolutely phenomenal. And a lot of people don't know that him and I had a side project going for like 2 years where we were actually writing together. So when the slot became open, or when I was like, look, I need to make some changes, he was the automatic fit because I know how he is live. I've seen him before. And I think that everybody just puts their best foot forward. I mean, Austin on drums is a complete monster.
Oh, yeah.
And off stage, he's complete opposite of my former drummer. And him and I have a great relationship. I mean, my wife often has to tell me and Austin, like, to get off the phone because we're just talking. Sitting there we talk like two women. But I mean, the thing is, like, you have to have chemistry in a band. And for people who are in bands, longtime bands, listening to me, you're just starting a band. Like, if you don't get along with people, the music is going to suck.
Right.
And the tours are going to suck, and you're going to feel it on stage. And I started to not feel it, frankly, on stage with the previous people, and it's why I took such a long break. And actually, Coal Chamber came involved in that time too. We put out a record, we did some touring, and it was time to make a switch and make a change. Now, when you talk about how it is in the band, it's unbelievable. It's like you're laughing so hard at night, your face hurts in the morning. Right? Everybody's firing on all cylinders. Everybody's putting their best foot forward. Nobody is trying to fight or argue or do any kind of the nonsense that happens in bands. And it's good to see after we've been together for so long. I mean, Devildriver has been together since 2001, 2002. And sure enough, too, like this has to be said as well. Neil came in and immediately when we were writing, because we had written together beforehand, before he joined Devildriver, he wrote the song Daybreak, and that's the first single we released.
Okay, yeah.
So it fits so well. I don't know how often a new guy comes in, writes a song, and you're like, that's it, that's Devildriver, but he did. So I'm really pleased at how the band is firing on all cylinders and getting along. And not only that, the live show is incredible because we feel it. We're having a good time, and that's the most important thing in music, is to have a good time.
Definitely. And now you had Trust No One has been out now almost a whole year, came out last May. It was very well received, right. And it had, the lineup that you're using. So what going forward for the next one, how do you feel with this group going into, you've had one album down with everyone and now you're going to be doing, I don't know how far, if you've even thought about writing yet for the next one, but what's your process for where you're going to go from here with this group when it comes to writing?
Oh man, I'm chomping at the bit. I write every single day, and I hit Neil up about a week and a half ago with this question. I said, hey, when do you think we should start at least like putting our stuff that we've compiled together? And he's like, man, whenever. I got 11 songs.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah, and Mike is on the same time frame. Everybody's writing constantly. Look, to be in it as long as we do. The only thing that was going to keep us going is evolution. If you hear Devildriver's first record to our 7th record, you're going to hear a signature sound, but every one of those records is so different from one another, man. I mean,
right.
Pray for Villains is so different from Beast, and Beast is so different from Trust No One. So to answer your question, like, I'm excited to get in there and write. I'm really chomping at the bit to do another record, and for us to release a 7th record and it come out 16 in the top 40 with no active rock radio. The bass is there, and they're liking what we're doing. So I really want to get in and write. I mean, there's a couple things I do want to do on the list with these guys, and I want to do a double record sometime with these guys.
Okay.
When I went into Trust No One, we had practically 22 songs.
Wow.
So, and it's not like we narrowed it down to get the best ones. Like, there's still 10 songs sitting there that are so good, I can't believe they didn't make a record. So wow. I kind of told them, like, during our time together, I'd like to get a double record in with them sometime, or I'd love to,
Yeah. Now, what's your secret? Because obviously, Devildriver's been around for over 15 years, and then even, with your previous projects, you've been around for quite some time. What is it that keeps you motivated and keeps you going to do this? Because, obviously after a while, a lot of people either get jaded or they just kind of lose that initial, what got them going. But what is it that keeps you doing what you're doing at the caliber that you're at?
I got to be honest, man. I'd never get jaded. And I hate that word. I do, and I've met some of my heroes, and there's sometimes you don't want to meet your hero,
right?
I've never got an ego about me. Like a half hour before I go on stage, or when I get the microphone in my hand, that's where ego takes place. So I come from a construction working background, a contractor father. I know what it's like to be on a job site at 4:30 in the morning and work.
Right.
I just don't take anything for granted. And I'm not jaded. I love music. It's my life. I love to write music. I love to play music. I love to be on stage. I love to be in the studio. I love to be in the rehearsal studio. I think what's kept me going too is I'm one of the most private guys out there. Mm-hmm. There's only one or two cats that I can even name right now that are as private and to themselves as me. And that, I think, has really helped me, man. It's like, it's me, my close friends, and my family, and my kids, and I never really ventured out and became that, like, I guess that insane, egotistical rock star guy, right? And those are the guys who lose their way. I just haven't lost my way. So what keeps me going is the love for music. And as long as people will have me in their lives, in their cars, in their house, I'll be there, and I'll try to continue to make product at the best of my ability. And I'll know when I can't do it 110%, and I'll stop. I just so happen to be like in the best shape of my life right now, bro.
Oh yeah.
And I got so much to give. But then again, I take care of myself, and I'm ready to go on tour and to do it. And a big thing within Devildriver too is like, we like it to take it to the bands. If you're going on after us, we're going to try to take it to you.
Oh yeah.
And if you're going on before us, we're going to try to make you less memorable.
Definitely.
And that I think that attitude, that's not egotistical. That's just an attitude of someone who wants to win, and a musician who like wants to go 110% and make it a challenge for other bands to go on after you, or be memorable if they go on before you. I think that's the all-out challenge right there of some of my favorite bands that I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, definitely. And another thing that I really enjoy about Devildriver is the covers you guys have done, especially Sail, which was incredible. And I love how you got that from your son, and your son has showed you things like that, like AWOL Nation, even Whitechapel, stuff like that. Is there anything that you've heard him play recently that you're like, I want to cover that?
Man, you know what? There's, and you say that about Sail, like that thing came across so strange. I mean, I don't know. I do love our covers, and I started to really love them when we did this song called Black Soul Choir by 16 Horsepower. And if you haven't heard it, like the original, it's like an alternative dark bluegrass band.
Okay.
And when we did that cover, I was like, man, like we kill covers. So fun, like this is so fun, right? And then we had somebody who's like, hey, do you want to do an Iron Maiden cover? And I was like, my voice? So fun. From Bruce's, I was like, yes, let's do it. And then, for all intents and purposes, everyone's like, dude, you guys killed that song. And I was like, okay, we love covers. So yeah, there's some stuff I definitely want to cover with these cats. I mean, I listen to a lot of old school punk rock. I mean, Black Flag, The Germs, Circle Jerks. I could go on. Partisans, GBH. I could go on forever. I also listen to a ton of like outlaw country, like Old Cash, Willie Whalen, etc. So there is some stuff that I definitely want to cover. I mean, we try to do one cover per record, and on Trust No One we didn't do one. The previous one is the one we did with Sail.
Right.
And the way that happened was a trip. It's like that band had not even hit with radio yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like my kid like got on the computer and I'm like, well, who is this, first of all? And I was like, we can't cover it, Simon. Like, is it all over the radio right now? Like, we can't cover this song. And he's like, no one's really heard of this yet. And so when I sent it to my guys, they heard it, and they were like, oh, we'll light this up. And that was a fun cover to do. And we play it live. It's real fun to play live because if you're familiar with the AWOL song, you'll sing with us. And if you're not familiar, well, you're going to sing because it's simple.
Yeah, for sure.
But I enjoy doing covers. I mean, anytime you're an artist, you can step outside of your comfort zone. That is very, very important to do.
Yeah. Did they ever hear it and say anything about it?
I think it was the singer I hit up on Twitter, and he never responded. So I don't know. I mean,
okay.
He should at least fucking get back to me because I know I made him a shitload of money.
You gotta be like, now you gotta cover one of our songs.
You know what? I mean, all kidding aside, it was a great tune. It was so simple that I was like, okay, this is beyond simple. I know my band is going to kill this because they can kill stuff 10 times more, insane than that. And so when I first heard the demo of it, Mike sent me the first, the guitar lick of it, and I was like, dude, heavy? That sounds so killer. So, yeah, there are covers along the way I definitely would like to do.
For sure. Now, also, what I think is really cool about your band in particular is you do give a lot of songs for soundtracks, whether it's TV or movies. I was actually just watching. I don't know if you watch it, but I've been watching Shameless lately, and I actually heard you make me sick in one of the episodes, which I think is really cool. So, what's the power to you to put your music in TV and movies?
Well, Again, anything that it can expose your band to a wider audience, especially when you're not out there doing, pop, or you're not out there on the radio, essentially, right? On active rock radio, it's important, man. And metal bands are like that. I mean, Devildriver's an underground band. I mean, I'll say to people all the time, yeah, I'm in a band called Coal Chamber. I know them. Like, yeah, I'm in Devildriver. Like, who? You know, and I'm like, do you listen to heavy metal? No, I don't listen to real heavy shit. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, but I think it's important, and it gets your music out. And any way you get your music out to a new audience is great. I mean, we did that thing for Scrubs.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you how many people can't, like, dude, we just seen you on Scrubs. You know? And it's the power of being in another house that you don't really live in, but you're like visiting, and everybody sees you at the house. It's kind of cool, you know. And then that's what it's like when you go out and you do something like that.
Right. And now I know you have your father and your uncle have acting experience. Would you ever have that kind of itch to do that as well, to act, or is it just music for you?
Right. Well, my real father, I wasn't raised with him.
Okay.
He's an actor, Tiger Fafara. My father and my uncle were regulars on probably the most iconic show in American history, Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah.
And if you go to Tiger Fafara's IMDb, my father, he has done everything from Leave It to Beaver to Lassie to all of these shows like back in the day, right? I don't know. I was speaking to my manager about a month ago, and we had a meeting with an agent that was very interested in working with me. So, I mean, I would like to go that direction. It just has to be the right role, and that has to be something that I'm really backing, I'm really behind. But, I mean, I can see myself moving in that direction, and no doubt it's going to come. Just right now, I'm so engrossed with music and writing for that stuff, and I just started a company with my family called Sun Cult.
Okay.
That's doing surfboards and apparel and wax and everything, and we just, so there's so much going on right now that I don't know if I can get around to that, but it is in the plans for sure. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome. And then, like probably many people in the metal community that are in bands now, you were in the Kiss Army. Now, how do you feel about bands having clubs? Do you think it should come back? Because I don't really see many bands doing fan clubs, especially to the extent that Kiss was doing it.
Right. Well, we had one for a long time, the Wretched.
Okay.
It was really cool, man. And I mean, it works on some levels, and on other levels, it doesn't.
Okay.
And to go into that would be, but I mean, I love when there's fan clubs, especially when they see the Wretched shirts, because it's like that person specifically has that shirt because they follow Devildriver, they're in the Devildriver club kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But again, to segue in, I mean, that's another way to kind of get people in your club, get people in your into your music and into the things that you do. And we've been talking about relaunching that.
Oh, okay.
Probably about 4 or 5 months, but we got bogged down with the record, and we didn't get around to redoing a site and everything else, because there's a lot that goes into that,
Right. I think that's one of those things that have died out. And now I was going to ask, too, what do you feel that with the music scene and industry in general now compared to the past, obviously, like, the fan clubs and the way of going about things was a lot different than compared to today. What do you need to do today to really make a name for yourself and stand out? Obviously, you've gotten to kind of build it from the past into the present, but obviously for the younger bands that you've taken out and stuff like that, what do you feel is kind of the way to do it now with the internet? It kind of, in a way, it saturates the scene, but at the same time, it gives you a voice you didn't have previously.
Right, and I love it all.
Okay.
Any way you can get yourself out there, do it. But look, if you think you're going to, make something that sounds good, you're just going to put it on the internet and it's going to happen for you. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, but man, millions of people are hearing our music. I'm like, yeah, but dude, you're in Poughkeepsie.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So here's what I always say, and this is what I did with Coal Chamber, and this is what I did with Devildriver. Wherever I was living at the time when the band started, I made sure that we took over that town.
Uh-huh.
Right? Meaning like, in the beginning, with Coal Chamber, it's like, yeah, we'd sell at the Roxy, the whiskey, constantly. And the same thing with Devildriver, like when we first started, we played shows and they would sell out. And I think that's what you should do. If That's what you should definitely do. You know, if you're in a small town, you should play at a club until you can sell that thing out. And when that thing sells out on a Friday or Saturday night for your band, then you should go and you should go to an agent, you should go to a manager, and you should say, hey, come see my band. Come see my band. And when there's 400 people there, then they're going to look at you and go, okay, how will this play across America? And they'll think about it. And if they think to themselves, hey, this could work, then they're going to give you a deal, you know. And I still very much believe in, you need a record deal, you need a record behind you, you need a record company behind you to get, you know, to get a proper agent, to get a proper manager, to get proper tours, and to do it properly. I mean, that's, you know, of course there's the grassroots way to go around it as well, but I haven't really seen it work very hard, you know?
Right.
Very well, I should say.
Definitely. Now, you guys were Ozzfest regulars. You guys just played the Knotfest Ozzfest at the end of last year. And now,
oh, yeah.
In the U.S., metal festivals, since Ozzfest, there really hasn't been much. Obviously, Mayhem Fest came along for a couple years, and then unfortunately that kind of folded up. What do you see as a future for metal festivals in the U.S.? Because obviously in Europe, it's huge, and it would be cool to be able to do something over here, especially at the size that Ozzfest was at. And I think that turned a lot of people on to metal, and especially, you know, you guys and a lot of different bands that were in the scene, you know, Slipknot and whatnot. So what do you kind of see is where could we go to fix that kind of and bring something back?
I mean, there's a lot of that going on, actually. I mean, that Knotfest meets Ozzfest was incredible, man. There was so many people every day. And you know, like Chicago Open Air has got their...
That's huge this year. It looks great.
Yeah. I mean, and I know Rock on the Range, I guess, this year, I mean, they got a lot more metal involved. Like, I mean, I think, and what I'm hearing, and what I'm hearing from agents and managers that are talking to me, because I'm constantly saying, hey, I want to get on that festival in the U.S. or that festival. What I'm hearing is, oh, cool, they're doing a heavier lineup this year. I mean, I remember that very specifically, my agent going, oh, yeah, this thing is doing a more heavier lineup this year. And this one over here, they're doing a more heavier lineup this year. So where I don't think that the void has properly been filled.
Right.
You actually need something like an Ozzfest that like actually goes out, you know, every day somewhere
like
different.
A touring thing, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's going to come around. And
okay.
I would love to see Ozzfest come back. I mean, and I wouldn't be surprised, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Ozzfest comes back this year. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, with his solo stuff coming back around, yeah, for sure.
Right, and it's a perfect opportunity for Ozzy to do his solo stuff and get out there to a large group of fans. And I can only hope that they do go out that we're part of it, because we've been on. Well, frankly, I've done more Ozzfest than anybody but Ozzy and Jamie Josta, and Jamie has me beat just because he did Japan.
The technicality.
Yeah, it's the technicalities of it. But look, what a great festival!
Oh yeah.
And sure enough, Ozzfest, I mean, definitely made me who I am when it comes to Coal Chamber, and for sure made me who I am when it comes to Devildriver. I remember when Devildriver first started, Sharon Osbourne was like, hey, look, we've got an Ozzfest going out. You've got your first record. Why don't you take the earliest slot and just see how you do? And I was like, cool, what time is that? And I think it was like at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And I was like, let's do it. And, man, we came out to thousands and thousands of people every day. So, yeah, that festival is something very special, and I hope that it comes back, and I look back over my time doing it as being unbelievable, you know?
Yeah. And my last question for you is, coming off of the Ozzfest, Knotfest last year, you guys went into the studio to do something special. Is there any kind of timeline of what that was, when we can possibly hear it, and anything about it?
No, there's a lot of stuff just in the works. That's all I can say. Devildriver, look, I can say every week Devildriver's going to the studio.
Oh, okay.
We're always in the studio. I mean, I'm in my studio right now talking to you. I mean,
oh, okay.
Mike has a studio at his house. We're always constantly writing. When you can hear something, I mean, I believe, you know, there might be something we'll be able to put out, you know, I don't know, within the next, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's what's happening with Devildriver. It's like anything we do from here on out, it's got to be right timing. And this record is only 8 months old, but we are in the process of, like, you know, doing some things together. So when the timing is right, and when the marketplace opens and when it's ready to release, I mean, we'll definitely put something out there. You know.
Now, that was towards the upcoming album, or is there something like maybe like a smaller EP or something coming?
No, I mean, I love EPs.
Right.
The bad thing is record labels don't.
Yeah.
They just don't believe in giving you the money to go in and make an EP. And to be honest, to make an EP, you got to whittle down so many songs anyway.
Yeah.
You've almost got a record there anyway.
True.
But, I mean, suffice it to say that, like, for the last year, we've been working on something completely out of the box and special.
Oh, okay.
It really doesn't have to do with kind of a brand new record, but it is a brand new record. And I just don't know what's going to go on. I mean, when we're home, here's the thing about Devildriver. When we're home, we work.
Right.
So we're essentially always in the studio. So when people put out on the internet, it's like, Devildriver's in the studio, it's like, dude, I'm in the studio daily.
Yeah.
We just don't have anything to say, or a timeline or anything like that.
Right.
If I did, I'd surely let you know right now.
Of course. Well, that's all I've had for you. I had a great time talking to you. Is there anything you want to add wrapping up?
Oh, thank you very much, man. I appreciate the support and can't wait to come out. I want to see everybody come out to these shows with Death Angel and Winds of Plague and The Agonist and Azrael. I think it's going to be killer. And if you want to see Devildriver this year, and if we're coming near you, come on out. And you guys can always hit me on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm on there constantly. It gives me a base, from which to talk to everybody on. And then on Instagram, if you go, we're running these like meet and greets and these roadie for a day that are really, really cool. So check that stuff out, because you get to come in and you get to work for the band, hang out with us all day long and eat and stuff. And it helps us get down the road, but it gives you an experience of a lifetime. So really check all that out, and we'll see you on tour.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right, you too.